we'll start it up. Wow, 900 people at this time at night. Very cool. So Brazil had a very big election today, presidential election, and Brazil, like other countries besides the US, they have a different type of election. Everywhere in the world they have Congress seats and you know, seats up for grabs, as well as like multi-layered elections, and Brazil is one of those elections. I'm gonna cite the Washington Post now, and they did a pretty good job describing it, and some things I thought was funny, so I pretty much studied everything, but I really like the Washington Post article. Even though the Washington Post is like a liberal elite sort of, you know, PR team type newspaper, you know, it's funny to see what they think of this election because they probably are stunned, but they did a great job reporting on it. So Jair Bolsonaro, he's being described as the far right because, I don't know, here's the thing, I'm just gonna be honest with you, I don't live in Brazil, so everybody like right of Michael Moore is considered the far right. I'm like a normal liberal and I'm far right, or I'm like a centro moderate, like right-leaning person. You know, everybody's far right, so I don't know if this guy's like a normal conservative right-wing guy or if he really is far right, but they're describing him as far right. All I know is he's right-wing, not liberal. He won 46.43% of the vote with almost all of it counting. That's a huge victory. Fernando Haddad won 28.7%. So if Jair Bolsonaro, the far-right populist, if he would have won 50%, the election would have been over and he'd be the president, but he won 46%, so they're going to have another vote off. But since he won by almost 20 points, it's pretty much, barring something crazy, he's going to be the next president of Brazil, it looks like. So he posted on his, just to give you a little bit about who he is, they're calling him in the media, the mainstream media, they're calling him the Brazilian Donald Trump because he's a little bit crazy, but he's really talking against the liberal elites, the media, and he's standing up for the people as a populist. So he wrote on his Facebook, this is, you know, roughly translated, for someone with no TV time, a small party, no political funds, and who has been hospitalized for 30 days, this is a great victory. So even the mainstream media is admitting his win is historic. He had a very small party. He had almost no media coverage, probably positive light. He'd had no TV time, barely any TV time. Similar to Donald Trump or a Bernie Sanders, but you know, more similar to a Trump because he's right-wing. He had everything going against him. Very, very small budget for his political campaign, but he still won by almost 20%. A huge, huge win. And this comes off the back of, I don't know if you guys were paying attention last year, but Brazil's president, I think it was last year, 2 years ago, had one of the lowest approval ratings ever. I think it was as low as like 3%. Don't quote me on it, but I mean, Brazil really didn't like their last president. And according to this article, the left-wing ex-president Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva is behind bars as part of a corruption probe that tainted many Brazilian politicians. So does that sound familiar? Left-wing politicians behind bars for a corruption probe. So the last left-wing politician, very corrupt, and he's in jail now. This happened, I believe, in South Korea as well. A lot of other countries seem to be able to handle their corrupt politicians, but we'll see what happens in the United States, because Lord knows there's politicians on both sides who are doing some very sketchy stuff over the last 10 years, and everybody kind of knows about it now. So we'll see what the Trump administration does. Maybe that's why the media is so mad here. Who knows? Apparently, a big thing in this election was unemployment. Unemployment rate is very, very bad in Brazil, and it has been for at least the last few years. I don't know how long it's been before that. But I put a post on my page today, and I said something along the lines of, jobs and economy, people take that for granted in America because there's always been a pretty good economy, even at its worst, and now there's so many jobs. You don't know how important that is until you live in a country like Brazil, where there is no economy and there's not a lot of jobs. I've talked to a few of my friends out here that are Brazilian, and they told me that people in Brazil are homeless because they don't have jobs. Like, there's families on the street homeless because they can't get a job even if they wanted to. And she was saying, out here, there's people homeless not because they don't have a job. There's more jobs available than people looking for jobs. They're mentally ill, crackheads, very weird stuff going on. But she's like, in Brazil, it's not like you're homeless by choice or you're homeless because you're too insane. It's like you're homeless because there's nothing there. So people take America for granted. But Brazil, they don't have that luxury. That's why a lot of Brazilians come to America and appreciate America more than liberals who are born here, because they know what it's like to live in a very corrupt country that does not have a good economy. So that was a very big thing in Brazil. And the reason that Jair Bolsonaro won the first round of the election, most likely the second. So the news reported that he had a social media driven campaign, bargain basement budget. So no budget, social media campaign, barely any good TV or press, just like Donald Trump. That's why they're calling him the Brazilian Donald Trump. And they're also kind of, it's like the same story, except I'm sure this guy's a little different. According to the Washington Post, he has a history of incendiary remarks against women, minorities, and LGBT. And I'm going to read some of those now. And I'm just reporting on the Washington Post. I know how dishonest and fake they are to Donald Trump, so I don't know if this is true or not. But that's why I'm letting you know, and I'll let you do your own research. But according to Washington Post, he once said a gay son was the product of not enough beatings, and he told the female rival that she was not worthy of raping because she was too ugly. So those are some pretty serious remarks. And there's one of two options here. One, he really did say that, and the Washington Post is telling the truth. And to that, I would say to American liberals, I would say, be very grateful you're in the United States of America, because the myth is that the U.S. is so racist and terrible and everywhere in the world is so much better. And the truth is that the United States is probably the least racist place in the world. South America, Mexico, very racist. I'm not saying everybody, but so, I mean, you go to these Spanish countries, if you're Spanish or no Spanish people, you know, got grandmas and stuff. I'm not saying everyone's racist. I'm not trying to throw dirt on Mexico, Central, and South America. But racism is not a United States thing. So this type of stuff would fly in other countries way more than it would. Maybe that happened. Maybe it didn't. The Washington Post is lying. I wouldn't be surprised on that because I see them lie pretty much every week for the last 3 years. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was a stretch like they do to Trump. But who knows? I'm just reporting on what they said. And according to the Washington Post, my personal favorite part, and I'm going to tell you why after all this stuff, liberal Brazilians were aghast at the results. So, oh my goodness, we're so surprised. I can't believe a right-wing candidate would win in Brazil and Canada and Ontario and Quebec in the United States and Poland and Italy and Sweden and all over I'm so aghast, according to Washington Post. And here's my pitch. Conservatives are having a good old time watching the right-wing win everywhere. But to my liberal brothers and sisters or progressive brothers and sisters who haven't figured it out yet, I would think if you're on this channel, you probably figured it out. But I don't care if you disagree with me. I don't care if you're left wing, but the media is lying. So the only reason the liberals were aghast in Brazil and all over the world is because they listened to the Washington Post and they listened to the New York Times and they believe the blue checkmark celebrities who are very racist and sexist, and they believe the tech companies Google, Twitter, and Facebook who try to censor and control all the information so it's super liberal even though it's not working. And people who believe these liberal elite politicians, it's only a surprise to you. It's not a surprise to me. I have remarks, and I'm not that special or anything. I'm just saying it is true. I predicted in March of 2016 that Donald Trump was going to win the election and Hillary Clinton was going to lose the election because of her tactics. I could just see the strategy, and I'm like, this is a really bad strategy. They just constantly lie on the television. They have celebrities lie for them. They have musicians lie for them. They have the tech companies lie for them, but nobody really feels that way. So Donald Trump won in most counties because they're not properly reporting the news. They're not saying this is how Trump supporters feel, this is how liberals feel, this is the truth, and here's why you should vote liberal. They're saying, Trump supporters are crazy, we're so great and perfect, vote for us, and no one feels this way. And then they're 97% polls. And then you find out in Brazil and in the United States that the right wing is gaining. It's gaining in Canada. I'm sorry, but Trudeau's on his way out, and it's going to be a conservative president, just like in Ontario and in Quebec. They've had record-breaking victories that haven't happened in 50 years and 151 years. So it's just hilarious to me to see the Washington Post say liberal Brazilians were aghast. I feel so sorry for liberals in America. I feel so sorry for liberals in Brazil, because it's not, I'm sure that Jair Bolsonaro or Donald Trump are the perfect person, far from it. It's the fact that people are sick and tired of the political corruption on both sides, Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative. They're sick of the political elites. They're sick of the media lying every day and misleading people and dividing people by race, religion, gender, and making up all these fake stories that don't exist. People are tired of it. They don't care what the media says. They don't care how many times Saturday Night Live, how many times Saturday Night Live lies, and how many politically charged skits, and all million people who believe them laugh at it and think it's so great. And then they're aghast when Brett Kavanaugh gets in, and they're aghast when the Brazilian, and they're aghast when Doug Ford wins, and they're aghast when Quebec goes right wings. They're aghast because the news is lying and it's not working. Populism is on the rise. Right wing is on the rise because the liberal parties all over the world are failing tremendously at so many things. They're failing at illegal immigration and immigration. They're failing at taxes. They're failing at unemployment. They're failing at connecting to the working class people, which is supposed to be what they do. They're failing at every aspect of everything. And the only people that are believing it are the ones who have their eyes tuned in on the celebrities and all these people who are propagating the lies, propping up a dead horse, basically. So this is a, you know, I won't say good news because I don't really know much about this guy besides what I just told you. He's a populist right wing. They're describing him as far right. 46% of the vote compared to 28.7% from the other person. So he's probably going to be the next president. He barely got TV time, social media campaign, no money. This is happening all over the world, folks. It's going to be a ridiculously huge red wave, huge conservative wave in November. I can feel it now because the liberals keep messing up. Instead of just like calling it like, you know what, maybe we should switch our strategy. All they do is lie on the news, lie on Saturday Night Live, lie on the tech companies, try to skew the news. It's not working. It's never going to work again. It's only going to drive so many more people, just like Brazil, just like Jair Bolsonaro, who, by the way, I want to say got stabbed a month ago at a campaign rally. Someone came up to him and stabbed him. Didn't kill him. Apparently he was hospitalized for 30 days. I'm guessing because of that, but I don't know for sure. And he still won the election. It's like, this is like the left-leaning ideology. They can't tell the truth. They can't switch media coverage to be honest and accurate and win people over with a logical argument. So they just get more hysterical. They cry, they freak out, they scream, they block traffic, they stab people. It's like, at what point are you going to realize this strategy is not working? That's why I'm getting so popular. I'm not even bragging. I'm not like I'm so cool. I'm really not that cool. Once again, I'm sitting on my couch. This is my couch cushion. Literally, I'm sitting next to 2 couch cushions. Got a picture I bought at a flea market. Sitting on my couch, getting more popular. Not because I'm so cool. Not because I'm so special. Not because I'm a propagandist of the right wing and the Koch brothers are paying me. They're not. I'm sorry. I would know because I'd have like $100,000 more or something. I'm getting bigger because I'm just basically sitting in the middle. Yes, of course, I'm leaning right wing like most sane people are now because you watch how the left wing is. So yes, I'm going to vote all Republican. But no, I'm not I'm just telling you what's going on. Like, you could not believe me. I know people get mad. They say, normally, F you. Not that many people. Maybe like one person a week or something out of like tens of thousands. I'm just, I don't know what you want me to tell you. Like, do you want me to lie to you and say that liberals are winning in Brazil? Because they're not. They're about to lose the presidency, and Washington Post is shocked. New York Times is shocked. All the liberal writers for Stephen Colbert and for NBC and ABC and, you know, CNN are shocked because they hate white people and hate old men so much. They can't figure out, well, what's not working about their strategy. They don't, they don't care about the economy. They don't care that, you know, unemployment's lower since 1969. But when people come from Brazil to the United States, they care about that. And you're right, the United States is a nation of immigrants. So that's why Donald Trump's winning, because we are a nation of immigrants who aren't racist. That's why we like Donald Trump. And I could lie. I don't know what liberals want me to do. I could tell you I could say, yes, Donald Trump's so bad, he's going to be impeached and everything's going to go back to normal. But it's not happening because of the dishonesty and the failures of the media and the celebrities and the tech companies and the politicians. Because of their failures, not mine, Brazil is going right wing. The United States went right wing. UK voted on Brexit, and George Soros is trying to overturn it with his billions of dollars, and so are other liberal politicians. They think they can go against the people, but it's not working. Canada is going right wing. Ontario and Canada just went right wing. Quebec and Canada just went right wing, not by a little margin. By the first time in 151 years, the Liberals lost official party status when Doug Ford won in Ontario. This is not a small win. It's an 151-year loss. I mean, 151 years. You're talking about mid-level 1800s. Anomaly so bad for telling me the truth. Canada's going right wing. When Trudeau's out, it's going to be conservative. It's going to be a red wave in November. It's going to be a red wave in Brazil. It's happening all over the world. People are electing candidates like Donald Trump. It happened in Italy. It's happening in Poland. It's happening in Denmark. It's happening in Sweden. It's happening everywhere. Germany's protesting, real protests, not these BS mainstream media orchestrated ones. France is getting upset with Macron. He has an extremely low approval rating, way lower than Donald Trump's. Merkel's approval rating is way low. In South Korea and Japan, they don't even let in 50 or 100 refugees. They protest and scream and screech and cry when even 91 refugees show up in South Korea or Japan. They're more right-wing and more nationalistic than Donald Trump is. So I'm just letting people know, as I do all the time, and I'm having a great good old time, and I'm sure people are crying in the streets because they can't figure out what's going on. It's because you're being lied to. And the best way, I never wanted this to happen. I wanted, just to be fair and honest, I wanted to see Bernie Sanders win in March of 2016. Now you ask me why. I don't know why. I thought he was the outsider. I thought he was destroying the media. I thought he was the Donald Trump. I thought he was breaking up the political establishment. I wasn't paying attention to his socialist policies. I was like, you know what? Just with Donald Trump, roll the dice on Bernie Sanders. I thought he was the real deal. But I told the Democratic Party in March of 2016 this was going to happen. I didn't want Donald Trump to win when he won, but I didn't want Hillary Clinton to win either, so I didn't vote for her. But what I'm saying is, I'm not the bad guy here. I'm trying to let you know, if you want to actually win and save liberalism, you'll stop whatever this weird, creepy stuff that you guys are doing is, because it didn't work in Brazil, didn't work in the United States, not working in Canada, not working in Europe, not working in Asia. It's failing everywhere. The whole world is having a giant red wave. I'm loving it because I like low taxes and personal liberties. Believe it or not, I don't like the federal government stealing my money like they do in California, making it impossible to start a small business. I don't like all my money being taken and given to crackheads on the street so they can terrorize all the immigrants that they claim to care so much about. I don't like them taking away the First and Second Amendment. I don't like anything that modern day liberals are doing. So I'm completely content with the way things are going. If you don't want to listen to me, that's fine. Brazil go right wing, Canada will go right wing, and it just cracks me up to wrap it up. Celebrities said when Donald Trump won the election that they were going to move to Canada because they were so mad. So the funny part is, one, they didn't actually move to Canada because America's so great that nobody really wants to move to Canada. They just say that. There's actually celebrities coming from the UK to Los Angeles because the crime's so bad in the UK because they're super far left. They're banning clapping at Manchester universities because they're so soft. It's absolutely pathetic. So one, celebrities never move to Canada. Two, why didn't celebrities say they would move to Mexico? Are they racist, or do they know that Mexico isn't as safe and maybe nice as Canada? I have a lot of Mexico fans. I'm not knocking Mexico. I've heard amazing things. But I'm just curious, what is it that celebrities wanted to go to Canada, not Mexico? And third of all, what cracks me up is that now Canada is actually moving right-wing. So if celebrities do ever decide to, like Michael Moore's like, oh, I'm going to move to Canada. Well, are you going to move to Ontario, Canada? Because now that's right-wing. Are you going to move to Quebec in Canada? Because that's right-wing. Are you going to move anywhere in Canada? Because next year when Justin Trudeau's on his way out, it's going to be conservative. So didn't move to Canada, didn't want to move to Mexico, now can't even move to Canada to escape far right-wing extremism because it's going all over the place because liberals suck so hard. It's absolutely hilarious to me. And I mean, I don't know. It's like, they're like having tantrums. They're like giant babies crying in the street. We're going to protest every day. And you see the Women's March now. You could see they're like a radical, I don't want to say terrorist group because that would be an overstatement. But look at the things they're tweeting. They're not a normal protest group. They're trying to cause chaos and destabilization because this is what elites do all over the world. Liberal elites and right-wing elites, the ones that nobody likes. This is how they destabilize Syria, it's how they destabilize Ukraine, and it's how they've destabilized many countries over the last 10, 20 years. When they don't actually win an election, what they do is they make protesters, they brainwash people, pay people to cause destabilization, not peaceful protest. They try to get unhinged protest, to frame it in the media, to then use justification to bring in military, and then organizations start popping up all over the place. This is their bread and butter in so many other countries, so don't fall for it, whether you're liberal or conservative. I mean, unless you want the United States to be destabilized because you're having a fit and you can't realize that the economy is so great and unemployment's lower than it's been since 1969, and immigrants from Brazil and Mexico and Canada and all over the world want to come to the United States because it's one of the greatest countries in the world. Unemployment's great. We have freedom of speech, which people don't have. We have the Second Amendment. We have all the other amendments that people are trying to overturn with their bias slanted coverage using women, children, and sexual assault victims to try to overturn the Constitution and then claim that other people don't believe the Constitution. It's really wacky, weird stuff. But just to wrap it up, It's not working. Didn't work in America. It's not working in Canada. Not working in Europe. Not working in Asia. And now Brazil, the left-wing liberals are shocked all over the place that Jair Bolsonaro, far-right populist, won by 46%, likely to be the next president of the United States. Just like Donald Trump had barely any good TV coverage, no political funds, and even got stabbed, but still going strong, claiming to help out the people, very nationalistic, very, anti-liberal. And I'm not saying Trump and Jair Bolsonaro are the greatest people in the world, but this is what you get when you don't have any good liberals to counter it with common sense and say, we're not going to be quite as flashy as Donald Trump, but we're going to just do the truth. When you lie all the time and Donald Trump comes through and says mean words that hurt your feelings, but actually does good stuff, and it's like, the dude's just getting started. Leave Trump alone and watch what he does to the economy. I mean, he's for the first time, I used to dislike America, not dislike, but I used to not be proud of America. I used to be kind of hateful. And I used to think this was such a bad country because all the wars we were starting overseas and all the bad stuff we were doing here. And for the first time, I'm proud of my country because of Donald Trump and because of like people waking up from the mainstream media programming. So Brazil, Canada, all these other countries are all the same. Nationalism is on the rise, not because it's racist white nationalism. It's because people are proud of their countries again. They're proud of the safety and the economy and the freedoms that they have, and they don't want to lose it to a bunch of other countries that don't have it. So very, very simple stuff, very basic stuff. Hopefully this helped because, once again, the right wing is winning in Brazil. Another epic fail for the liberals. They're crumbling all over the world like witches when you pour water on them. I'm melting! They don't know what to do, so they're just screaming at the top of their lungs, like the Wicked Witch of the West in Wizard of Oz. And I'm not even saying it's perfect, but I'm just letting people know, even if you don't like me or Donald Trump or the new president, future president of Brazil, I don't know. Maybe you want to win sometime. Maybe you're sick of losing. Maybe not. Maybe you want to lose and scream and cry and get surprised every 2 months and cry again when you don't get your way in another country. I don't know. I just thought maybe people wouldn't want to do that and would want to win and learn what's going on and make corrections so that they become more appealing than Donald Trump and all these other people and start to win back the working class people, start to win the black and Latino community that they care so much about, that they're losing in record numbers, white old men who they hate so much, and white women who don't like them who they hate so much, and immigrants who they claim to love so much, but all the immigrants I talk to don't feel the way that the liberals feel. So I don't know, maybe you want to connect to the people. Van Jones said it one time. Van Jones was like, hey guys, maybe we should like talk to people and make our hugs smaller. And like Whoopi Goldberg's like, what are you talking about? Shut up, Van Jones. He's like, okay, man, I'm sorry for telling. I can't tell the truth on The View. I'll get my head chopped off. So I don't know. I mean, maybe you guys want to learn, maybe you don't. But anyway, I'm having a good time. Brazil's having a good time. Trump's having a good time. Make Brazil great again. That's what they're saying out there. Thank you guys for joining. Have a good day. I'll be back next week. Hopefully my throat and my sinuses clear up. If not, I don't really care. I'm powering through. I'm drinking water, drinking tea, drinking coffee. Heck, I'll drink I don't want to go that far. That's it. Thank you guys. Sign up to my free email list. I'm going to post all this stuff on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube if you hadn't. Tomorrow, I'm going to be on Brandon Straka's new live stream show. I have a Jesse Lee Peterson interview coming out. I have a new song coming out. I'm starting a new debate platform on YouTube. I'll post it to Facebook too. So I'm going to start debating people once a week who don't agree with me. A lot of fun stuff in the works. I'm having a good time. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your love and the shares and the likes. We have one of the most engaged audiences on Facebook. It's very, very incredible. Despite all the effort to probably not have this exist, we're winning super big, and it's because everyone's supporting so much. So thank you guys for the shares and everything. That's great. Have a good night.